These videos are for educational purposes and fun only. Any artwork or stories may or may not be true. This whole thing started because I was asking the oracle about King George III. I was just going to relax and have some fun and look at background, you know. I got to thinking, is George a giant? Well, let's ask this. How many people do you know that are as big as a pillar? Never mind the floor level here. I suspect most floors have been built up. So just look at this bottom ring decoration right here. This giant could wrap his arms around this pillar. Now, which person here could even come close? Then I was thinking, well, who kept association with Giant George? I was just messing around online. Then I thought to myself, well, wait a minute, I don't know Shinola about this guy. As a matter of fact, I don't even know when he was king. Knowing New England, Boston specifically, is 1630. Could Giant III have associated with New Englanders? So we're going to take a little detour right now. Contadina means seasoned. This title isn't deserved of Boston in our 1630s narrative. No, quite the opposite actually. But here it is. A seasoned piece of land and quite built out. I'm going on my own assumption that these letters and numbers are added, because the message on the outside of this coin is disturbing. And the word city seal. That just means finally seized control of. Now, that's my opinion. And this little symbol here that seems to be reminiscent of the markings from the New England I and J video. Now here's my question. Why is it that this crest has opposing statements on the same work of art? Everything is simple until these guys get a hold of it and obfuscate all meaning. Which one here is more sensibly elegant? Or, which one do you prefer? And this is how simply things can be hoaxed. I made the one on the right to demonstrate the simplicity of this crest as I've pontificated it once looked. So let's go back to George, and I was thinking, you know, did he know any of the New Englanders? But I couldn't, because I don't know who lived when. I don't even know when my New Englanders lived. So I got to wondering how many researchers, or most of us for that matter, have any idea what years the three Georges were around. Never mind our guys. Well, I decided to look into all this. Here are our narrative-driven dates, and that is what we're going to do right now. First thing we have is we got the problem with the calendars. We go Julian, Gregorian. Oh, come on. I don't want to go through all this because it's a lot of numbers, and you can look at it, stop the video. Okay, I'm going to tell you what's happening. Oh, the kings have coins, right? So I put them in here because all the coins have laurels on their head, but they never wore them for sitting. So an inconsistency that I noticed, and it might mean nothing. And check it out, even Abraham Lincoln. He could have been chummy with the old giants in such a late state of America. Look at his dates. Here's the thing. If you haven't already surmised, Benny Hill here, Benny Franks, he lived through all the king's ranks. Interesting indeed. I didn't know that. And it puts Benny in a different light for me. And that's who we're going to discuss. We may take some detours along the way, but old Benny Franks. So let's kick around the oracle for some of Benny's family members and in-laws, just to see what kind of entities they want us to associate with old Franks here. Benny Franks Gramps. So this is him, faceless blacksmith. He died in 1681 in England, so Gramps never came here. You can follow along my search while I talk. Benny's old man, on the other hand, Joshua marries a woman, has 8 kids in England. His occupation is a fabric dryer at this time. 1682, he gets to Boston. Now we don't know how. He meets his second wife in 1689 Her name is Abiah Folger. He has 10 kids with her. To support all these people, he's a tallow chandler and a soap boiler. Now here's where I'm coming from. If Bennie Frank's old man is real, the jobs that run through his narrative might be covers for the Folger family. Maybe. I don't have the answers. I'm just having some fun. What ends up happening is the Folger family puts him in a position of control over the civilians, the immigrants, and the non-Protestants. What job did they assign him to? A Tithingman. This is law enforcement for the Congregational Old South Church. The New England narrative portrays the Tithingman as someone who gently wakes folks up at church. But the actual history of the organizer's narrative is quite the opposite. Yes, indeed. So let's have some fun here. Suppose this is all true. So what qualifies him for such a rank position? He was never a civilian. He's one of the immigrants. And he believed in religious freedom. That's his own words. If he's real. You gotta be careful in life, because this is how you get flipped. See, the Folgers got him chastising and persecuting folks who committed no crime, except that they are a mirror image of Joshua himself, before he married into power. Again, Bennie's pops smells like flapjacks to me. So another little detour. Tallow Chandler. And if one was thinking a candle maker is this, and it sounds like a dimwit's job, then one has been misdirected. This is what a candle maker really used. A candle maker was a blue-collar mechanic. I can tell that this machine takes experience and a stickler for standard operation procedure just to set it up. And check it out. Obviously, the operator has first-hand knowledge of how to regulate power to heavy machinery with an electrostatic engine, because that's what this is. And what are we talking here? 1682? Pretty advanced technology and culture, right? Keep in mind while we're talking about all this, the Industrial Revolution didn't start till 1760. The American Revolution didn't even happen till 1775. So looking at the soap boiler, look, that takes a big warehouse with huge cast iron urns encased in brick. And so enough of that. I could talk machine technology all day. I love that stuff. Now I recognize that this says 1875, and it's from the Industrial Encyclopedia. Well, I don't trust dates, especially when you have an engraving for 1875. This is well into the invention of photography. So why would this be an engraving? So where was I? Jobs might be covered for the Folger. Yeah, because look at it this way. If you're rich and you've established power, you're going to set it up so nobody can arrest you or hold you accountable. Here's the old Mans Wiki. He has no links to a life. There's no painting of him. And being in such a prominent family, for sure he'd have enough ego to have a sitting. No? I found something else peculiar. No accepted, established media outlets have written about his life. So I wonder what he did to deserve this. Maybe it's because of his wife, or did he hang out with some heavy hitters? I have my doubts about this narrative. It's just mysteries of the realm. And another little detour with something quick. I found these cruising through the Franklin family tree. They're very interesting to say the least. There's something different about them, as you can see. The internet claims that this is Frank's pops, but I can find no substantiating evidence. Way too many of the photographs that claim to be descendants of Joshua Franklin look like this. This photo isn't an isolated incident, you know. There's a lot of this. And to be honest, I just picked a random one. Are these two people real? How about what's going on with these three? And I won't comment on this because I just, this is bizarre. As Baltimore Fats would say, just because you don't know the truth doesn't mean you can't have fun with the lie. Yeah. Baltimore Fats is one of my favorite channels. I like his whole shtick. Go check him out.